Viral images show a city supposedly melting under its own sun. And in the background, a glittering metropolis of glass and steel pushes relentlessly toward the sky, a monument to human ambition in the middle of the desert. The pictures are a lie. The traffic lights are not melting. The car bumpers are not pooling onto the asphalt. That is not the story. Before we go any further, this is a story with incredible implications for our future. We need your perspective as we uncover what's really happening. Let us know in the comments below what you think. We read every one. The reality is far more terrifying than a warped piece of plastic. It is a scientific certainty that is beginning to unfold. A threshold of human survival that is quietly being crossed, not in a century, but now. On some days in Dubai, the air itself becomes so saturated with heat and moisture that the human body can no longer cool itself. Full stop. The act of sweating, our most basic survival mechanism, becomes useless. We investigate stories like this because they show us where we are headed. A staggering number of people who value these reports are not subscribed. If you believe this work is critical, take one moment and subscribe to the channel. It is the single most important way you can support us. Now, let's begin. The phenomenon is called wet bulb temperature, and the Persian Gulf, the body of water that gives Dubai its coastline, is one of the few places on Earth where this theoretical limit is becoming an observable fact. On August 7th, 2023, the heat index, the feels-like temperature, at the Dubai International Airport climbed towards 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit. This is not just uncomfortable. It is a lethal boundary condition for human life. To understand what is happening in Dubai is to see a city fighting a war with its own climate. A war it has been winning through sheer engineering and immense wealth. But the climate is starting to win back. This is how it started. 50 years ago, Dubai was a small port town, its economy based on fishing and pearl diving. Its population in 1975 was less than 200,000 people. Today, it is a sprawling megacity of more than 3.6 million. That growth did not happen organically. It was engineered. A forest of skyscrapers was willed into existence, built from glass, steel, and concrete. The very materials that absorb and radiate solar energy with maximum efficiency. This creates what scientists call the urban heat island effect. Satellite thermal imagery from NASA confirms it. The dense core of Dubai is several degrees hotter than the empty desert that surrounds it, especially at night. The city literally cooks itself. The buildings that create its world-famous skyline are active participants. The endless facades of reflective glass, designed to keep interiors cool, act like mirrors, bouncing concentrated beams of sunlight back down onto the streets and sidewalks below. The canyons formed between these high-rises trap the day's heat, preventing it from escaping after sunset. The city holds its breath, suffocating in the warmth it has generated. And here is the profound paradox. Within this furnace, Dubai has constructed its own Eden. It is called the Green Planet, a 4-story glass-enclosed biodome that perfectly simulates a tropical rainforest. It is home to over 3,000 species of plants, animals, and birds. It is a hermetically sealed, fully air-conditioned jungle in the middle of a desert that is becoming too hot for human beings. This entire civilization, this vertical city in the sand, is built on one foundational technology: air conditioning. It is not a luxury, it is life support. From homes and offices, to bus stops to enclosed walkways connecting the metro to the malls, cooled air is the only thing that makes summer existence possible. Life migrates indoors. The city is famous for its colossal, interconnected shopping centers. They are not just places to shop. They are self-contained worlds where residents can live, eat, and be entertained for days without ever stepping foot into the oppressive outdoor heat. The Mall of the Emirates contains Ski Dubai, an indoor mountain resort with chairlifts, toboggan runs, and real snow, all maintained at a temperature of -1 degree Celsius, while the city outside bakes. As we continue to uncover the layers of this crisis, remember to add your thoughts in the comments below. This is an ongoing situation, and the global conversation around it is essential. Your insights matter. And here's the detail that reveals the unsustainable heart of this oasis. The UAE possesses one of the highest per capita electricity consumption rates on the planet. A massive portion of that energy is consumed by air conditioning. And this is just one half of the survival equation. The other is water. Dubai is located in one of the most water-scarce regions in the world. Its primary source of fresh water is not rivers or aquifers, but the sea. Massive energy-intensive desalination plants line the coast, sucking in seawater from the Persian Gulf and using immense power to make it potable. This process has a staggering carbon footprint. It is primarily fueled by the very fossil fuels that are driving global climate change. The exhaust of one survival system is poison for the other. The hot hypersaline brine, left over from desalination, is discharged back into the Persian Gulf, raising its temperature and salinity, impacting the marine ecosystems, and in a cruel feedback loop, making the seawater itself warmer. A warmer sea evaporates more moisture into the air. This increases the humidity, which in turn drives up the deadly wet bulb temperature that threatens the city's very habitability. The city's lifeline is tightening the noose. This is the central paradox of Dubai. Its primary tool for survival, the colossal energy expenditure on cooling and water production, directly contributes to the global warming and localized humidity that are making the city's climate more extreme. It is a city running from a fire while pouring gasoline on it. This is not a failure of foresight. It is a conscious choice. The model is growth at any cost, defying nature through engineering. But nature does not negotiate. The government, through its National Center of Meteorology, or NCM, has deployed a more direct strategy to fight back. For more than 2 decades, it has run one of the world's most aggressive cloud seeding programs. A fleet of aircraft flies into promising cloud formations and fires salt flares into them. The salt particles act as nuclei, encouraging tiny water droplets to condense, grow, and fall as rain. It is a brute force attempt to manufacture weather. More recently, they have begun testing a new method: drones that fly into clouds and deliver electrical shocks to their molecules, hopefully forcing them to clump together and produce rain without the need for chemical flares. It is a testament to the city's desperation for control, a belief that any challenge, even the climate itself, can be met with enough technology and investment. If this report is providing you with a new perspective, take a moment to share it with family or friends. To help this investigation reach a wider audience, please like the video. It makes a significant difference. But what happens when all that technology, all that planning, is overwhelmed? What happens when the system designed to master the environment collides with an environment supercharged by climate change? That happened on April 16th, 2024, the day the desert drowned. It began as a forecast, a large, slow-moving low-pressure system crawling across the Arabian Peninsula. But what it delivered was biblical. In less than 24 hours, the UAE was hit by the heaviest rainfall in its 75 years of recorded history. Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest for international travel, recorded 142 millimeters of rain. The city's average for an entire year is just 94.7 millimeters. Some parts of the country received over 254 millimeters, 10 inches of rain, in a single day. The city, a marvel of modern infrastructure designed for sun and sand, was not built for this. It has almost no natural drainage. The ground is hard-baked desert and non-porous concrete. The water had nowhere to go. The images that followed were apocalyptic. 6-lane superhighways became motionless rivers, with luxury cars and delivery trucks submerged to their roofs. The runways at Dubai's airport were swamped, looking more like a lake than a global transit hub. Hundreds of flights were canceled. Thousands of passengers were stranded. Water poured into the ground floors of luxury villas and cascaded down the walls of the world's largest shopping malls. The entire city, a symbol of futuristic efficiency, was brought to a complete paralyzed standstill. Almost immediately, speculation turned to the cloud seeding program. Had they gone too far? Had the attempt to make rain created a monster? The NCM quickly stated it had not conducted any seeding operations in the days immediately preceding the storm. And climate scientists around the world were unequivocal. Dr. Friederike Otto, a leading climatologist at Imperial College London, stated plainly that focusing on cloud seeding was misleading. The reality, she and others argued, was that human-caused climate change had most likely exacerbated the rainfall. A warmer atmosphere holds more moisture. For every degree Celsius of warming, the air can hold about 7% more water. The storm system, which was already large and powerful, was simply drawing from an atmosphere that was warmer and wetter than it used to be. It was a natural event made profoundly unnatural by a changed climate. Dubai's war on weather had collided with a force it could not control. Its high-tech rain-making planes were irrelevant in the face of a climate system it had helped to destabilize. And here is what that day truly exposed. The city's vulnerability, a metropolis defined by its control over its environment, was proven to have none when faced with a true extreme. The flood was a symptom. The disease is a climate pushed to its breaking point. And the heat is that same disease expressing itself in a different, slower, but even more dangerous form. But who stands on the front lines of this heat crisis? It is not the tourists in the air-conditioned malls or the executives in their cooled glass towers. The skyline of Dubai was not built by machines, it was built by hand, by a massive workforce of millions of migrant laborers, primarily from South Asia and Africa. They are the ones who work outdoors, pouring concrete, welding steel, and paving roads under the relentless summer sun. They are the most vulnerable population to the city's extreme temperatures. To protect them, the UAE federal government enforces a mandatory midday break. From June 15th to September 15th each year, all outdoor work is strictly prohibited between the hours of 12:30 p.m. and 3 p.m. The Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization reported in 2023 that 99% of establishments complied with the rule. It is a positive step. But it is not enough. Here is the critical detail. The hours just before and after the ban are often just as dangerously hot. A worker may be forced to stop at 12:30 when the temperature is 45 degrees Celsius, only to be sent back out at 3:01 p.m. when it is still 44 degrees. Human Rights Watch has argued for years that this time-based rule is inadequate. They advocate for protections based not on the clock, but on a scientific heat stress index which accounts for temperature, humidity, wind, and solar radiation. The very combination of factors that creates the lethal wet bulb conditions. The midday break provides a few hours of relief, but it does not solve the fundamental problem of men working 8-hour shifts in an environment that is medically unsafe. They are risking heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and long-term kidney damage to build the air-conditioned paradise they will never be allowed to fully inhabit. This is the human cost of the skyline. The price of defiance, paid by the most exposed. The air-conditioned interior of the city is a world away from the sun-scorched scaffolding where its future is being constructed. A quick reminder, if you're finding this report valuable, please subscribe. We cover the stories that get lost in the noise, and your support is what allows us to continue. The government is aware of the compounding pressures. In 2021, Dubai launched its 2040 Urban Master Plan. It is an ambitious blueprint for the city's future, designed to address the very issues threatening its livability. The plan aims to increase the land area dedicated to public beaches by 400%. More significantly, it calls for dedicating 60% of the entire Emirate of Dubai to forest and nature reserves. It envisions a future with more green space, more public parks, and a greater emphasis on sustainable pedestrian-friendly communities. It is an acknowledgement that the current model of dense gray infrastructure is a liability. The goal is to mitigate the urban heat island effect, improve quality of life, and create a more resilient city. But this plan is a long-term strategy, a vision for a city 2 decades from now. The climate crisis is not waiting. The record temperatures are happening today. The catastrophic floods happened this year. The scientific projections for the Persian Gulf region, from institutions like MIT, warn that the threshold for human survivability could be regularly exceeded within this century. Not in 2200. Sometime in the coming decades. The city is in a race against time, with its own development model as its chief opponent. Can it plant enough trees to offset the heat radiated by 1,000 skyscrapers? Can it create enough green space to cool a metropolis of millions cemented into a desert? I know we've asked before, but it's that important. If you still haven't, this is your final, slightly humorous reminder to please subscribe. It's the only support this channel runs on, and we can't make these deep dives without you. The story of Dubai is becoming a real-world test case for humanity's future on a warming planet. It represents one of 2 potential paths. The first is a path of technological retreat, where humanity seals itself inside climate-controlled bubbles, surrendering the outdoors to an inhospitable environment of our own making. A future where life is lived indoors, sustained by immense energy expenditure, while the natural world outside becomes an alien landscape. This is the path of Ski Dubai and the Green Planet, a path of artificial Edens in a self-inflicted inferno. The second path is one of adaptation and managed retreat, of acknowledging hard limits. It is a path that asks whether a city of millions can truly be sustained in one of the hottest places on Earth, as that place gets even hotter. It is a path of profound, difficult questions about growth, sustainability, and our ultimate relationship with the natural world. The 2040 plan is a gesture toward this second path, but it is running against the momentum of a half-century of the first. The viral images of melting traffic lights were a hoax, but they pointed to a deeper truth. The city isn't literally melting, but the climate that allows it to exist is. The stable conditions that underpinned its spectacular rise are beginning to fray unpredictably and violently, first with heat, then with water. The April 2024 flood was not the end of the story. It was a warning shot, in the same way that state regulators warned the Dole Food Company for 48 years that its dam could not handle an extreme rain event. Climate scientists have been warning the world for decades that our infrastructure is not prepared for the weather of the future. The question now is not whether Dubai can build another, taller skyscraper. It is whether the city can survive the climate being created in its shadow. Can it engineer its way out of a crisis that its own engineering helped create? The summer of 2023 saw temperatures hit 50.1 degrees Celsius. The spring of 2024 saw the heaviest rain in recorded history. These are not anomalies. They are data points on a trend line, and that line is pointing upward. The next heat wave is already forming. The next weather system is gathering moisture over a warming sea, and the city of the future is waiting to see what new records will be broken.